Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. I'm the Monk, and today we are doing a review for Summer of Mara. Summer of Mara is a single-player experience in a calm, relaxing environment with a handmade look and exciting narrative. You play as a little girl who wants to explore the world that surrounds her. This game has been published and developed by Chibig, and they actually sent me a review copy for this game, so thank you very much for doing so. It's currently on the PC, the PlayStation, the Xbox, and it will set you back at $19.99 or $24.99 US. So this is an open world survival game. There are over 20 islands to explore. You can build, farm, cook, and fish. There are over 300 fetch quests, 300 quests within this game. And it actually started as a Kickstarter project. So as we've gone through all of the paper stuff to do with this game, we are finally on my thoughts. Now, I played this game quite a bit, and it's not as bad as I thought it was. Now, the basic story of this game is that as a little girl, you were saved by this motherly presence. She kind of raises you on this island and teaches you how to survive on an island, you know, teaches you morals and all of that. All of a sudden, though, she disappears. And you kind of have to make your way on your own, discovering why she left, where she is, and discovering how to actually, you know, build up your own island. Now, like I said, there are over 20 islands. Well, there are 20 islands in this game. And you reach each and every one of them on your little boat. The mechanics are actually really, really simple. It's, you know, the boat mechanics in this game, the way you explore from here to there are pretty good. The odd thing, however, is when you actually bring up the map, your island, your home, isn't actually the center of the map. One of the biggest towns in the game actually is, and I think that's a bit strange. Yeah, it's just a weird one, really. I think that maybe, you know, the developers should have a look at changing that a little bit. The actual cutscenes within this game are beautifully done, especially early in the game. You seem to get these cutscenes fairly, you know, they're fairly common, and a lot of effort and a lot of detail have actually gone into these. Now, remember, this is an indie company. This is an indie game. It's a very small game. You know, the budget wasn't huge for this game. But like I said, they spent a lot of money, obviously, quite clearly on the actual cutscenes within this game because they're worth watching. They're very enjoyable. And it's a shame because the further you get within the game, the less you actually get them. And I think that's a little bit of a shame. I would like to have seen more of them in there. Because for me, the way I see this game, this is a kid's game. I think this is a very nice entry-level survival, open-world survival game that kids can play. The farming in this game is very simplistic. You know, it's perfectly, you know, manageable. It all works nicely. You can, you know, plant all kinds of different, you know, crops when it comes to carrots. You can plant trees that grow oranges. You know, you can destroy it all down and move it all around and that sort of thing. You have to actually work the ground and of course water your crops as well. There's a day and night cycle within this game, and there's a weather system within this game. You have to manage your hunger and how tired you are. If you do a lot of work, you're going to find that you know, your little girl, your main character, she's going to get very tired, and of course when she gets tired, that means you reset. Unfortunately, you need to have a little rest, and you have to sleep within this game. You can also learn new recipes and stuff like that, so you can fish for certain food, and then, you know, depending on what type of fish you're cooking with, you can make a different little meal. And like I said, all of that sounds pretty great, but unfortunately there are a few minor flaws that kind of ruin the experience for the younger audience. I feel like, for instance, when you're farming, when it comes to actually getting your crop in, you will get the carrot, for instance, but you will get no seed for the carrot. And that goes for anything else that you actually plant in the ground as well. You will get the crop that you actually planted, but you won't get a seed to plant another one, which means you have to go to an island to find more seeds in order to, plant another crop. And I think that's a bit of a shame. It kind of wastes my time. And, I think it's unnecessary. And unfortunately, talking about unnecessary, that leads me to the quests within the game. Earlier, I mentioned that there are 300 quests within the game. Well, unfortunately, every single quest within this game is a fetch quest. Sometimes they will often ask you to go get something in the middle of a conversation. You go to talk to someone, and in the middle of the conversation, they ask you to go get something before they can finish the conversation. And that's kind of annoying. It's very irritating. And because there's so many fetch quests, because there's so much dialogue on the screen for you to read, I feel that kind of isolates the audience. Like I said, I think that this is a children's game. I think it's very, very well suited to a children's game, but I do think that what that means is that it should be voice acted. And unfortunately, there is no voice acting within this game. And I think that's a real letdown for this, because when I first played it, I immediately had focus on the younger audience. This is how I saw the game being played, and I thought, it actually done a lot of things really well for that. But if, it's a very frustrating game at the same time. There is no real tutorial. There is no options. For instance, if you press start, there is no options whatsoever. You can't change anything about the game apart from go back to the start menu. These are small, minor things, but it is just frustrating and annoying sometimes. You'll get asked to do something, or you'll get asked to get something, and honestly, you've got no idea where you were supposed to start in the first place, especially if you missed some of that dialogue, which you probably would have done. Because unfortunately, I'm not ashamed to admit that I, inevitably skipped quite a bit of the dialogue because it goes on for quite a while. I also feel that this game is a little bit overpriced. I mean, when I say a little bit overpriced, I do mean about 50% overpriced. I think that for what it is within this game, maybe £20 is a bit much, quite a bit much. I would wait until this game goes on sale. But I've got to say that the music does sound nice. There's a nice atmosphere towards the game. The sound effects, maybe I feel just aren't quite on key. Maybe that needs to be readdressed. Like I said, unfortunately, there aren't very many options within this game. I can't change it. I can't make the sound effects louder. They're as loud as they go. But a lot of this game is quite quiet. But the music that comes in quite often is really nice. And I've got to admit that the beginning of the game may be a little bit slow, but once you finally get your boat, you are kind of underway. You are kind of like, you can do what you want, and the game runs a lot smoother when you're able to actually do what you want, which is quite nice. But you know what? For me, this game worked absolutely perfectly. Everything this game wanted to do, it done absolutely fine. There was no dashboard, no glitches. I didn't really notice anything too janky at all. Yes, the controls may be a little bit clunky, but overall this works perfectly fine. So, after all of that is said and done, this game gets a very respectable 5 out of 10. And guys, that is it from me. So if you've enjoyed this review, don't forget to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And once again, don't forget we also have a Facebook page, which you can go and have a look at as well. It's just Critically Clueless and you will find us. I will see you in the next video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed.